All right, here we go again. Buckle up. We're going to try to make those rough roads a little smoother. So Pam Bondi should speak to people and let them know that if they're again, it's a hazard for the administration. This preemptive pardon thing, or even a pardon by a president of somebody that recently committed crimes. It's a little different posture today as far as how we're using the pardons compared to where we were. And again, do what you want to do. I'm not here to take some tool away from you that might work. But my opinion is that it's not going to pass constitutional muster. Which means if you're doing things right now thinking you're going to be pardoned, it might not happen. Because again, I think we're at the point now, we're past like preemptive pardon, which means people may have committed crimes in the Biden administration somewhere. Right? And those people didn't know they were going to get a pardon for it. They may have thought about it, I don't know personally, but they didn't think about it. I think we have now people in the Trump administration that are like, well, I'll just get a pardon. Right? So it's not going to matter. And I don't think you should rely on that. I think it's a trap. Thank you, Larry. It's just CYA. That's what I was talking about. Gaetz, Mr. Gaetz. You got a CYA, and I don't think he's good at CYA. Now he's good at other things, but he's not good at CYA. And the thing is, Bondi has to CYA everybody. Yeah. So people should not even think about a pardon in how they conduct their business. I mean, you should think that you're protected, and that's my point about all those agents. I mean, and they are protected. I just don't know what the enforcement mechanism is going to look like. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of psychology around this that I've seen. And I think you're being manipulated and have been manipulated. It's like, in other words, spies can psychologically manipulate you before the event you're being manipulated for comes in or occurs, should I say. Right? Right. I want to say something. That actually stopped me for a second. There's something I'm supposed to say. Well, look, what you can do is just you can send an investigator in to investigate my case. Again, I think you got rid of the inspector general, and I haven't had any luck with them. I feel they're all deep state, but right. But investigate it. My brother said for me to call Cerise. Cerise is my congresswoman, and tell her what's going on. But I'm just hoping you'll get me my 100% disability. This has gone on way too long, and I'm one of the biggest victims of the deep state. I really am. Right. I can see signs that maybe you all are hearing me, and you know that I exist. But again, I'm dealing with the deep state my whole life, and they've done that to me, and it was fake. Right. And it's crazy because really, they should do it. If actually the deep state, if the deep state's doing that, they owe me, and they get that taken care of, then I have my income, right? And then maybe I think, I'll even, again, if I can get someplace comfortable, I can probably do better work. I really can't remain in this apartment. It's just a sick apartment at this point. It's like I turn my heat on, and it's just not warm in here, right? And it's not like drafty. It's just like I don't even know if this has any insulation. And it's just too much on the dust and dander here. Right? And again, because it's an older place, it has issues. So I think I know I put in twice for Persian Gulf syndrome. The first time when I had all my records in there, they they lost a request for Persian Gulf syndrome, and the county guy did it. Now I don't even know what's in my record. I don't even know what they saw, because again, that's how the deep state acts. Like, you think they saw all your records, and they didn't see all your records. Right. Who knows? They may not have cared. It may come down from up top. Hey, don't give it to him. I mean, they could be that corrupt. But again, there was a presumption in law that I have Persian Gulf syndrome, regardless of what the doctor believes. That's the way it was created. It's not a rebuttable presumption. It's a presumption. So get that taken care of and get me a letter, and get the send the money to my account. And then I'll just shut this place down as soon as possible, unless I need to take off somewhere and leave this place open because I could leave it to the end of the lease, right? If I had enough money. Right? And I'm not going to burn through it if I don't know if it's going to be enough money to have a great life, but at least I'll get forward to where I am, and I'll get somewhere. Again, I'm alone, and I need to probably get some long-term care insurance or something. Who knows? Right. And then my checks will be bigger too. Like, if they would have given me more disability in Oklahoma, the COVID thing it all would have been way different. Right. I was a little short on money, and I was getting too nervous. And that's them. They're trying to steer me by panicking me about how much money I have and how much I make. And if I'd actually spent the money on things, it would have cost me less money. So again, they're very manipulative. Been in my life way too long. And I've never touched anybody wrong in my life. Now get away from me, all of you. You're all just sick criminals. Deep state criminals. So I don't know, something triggered my stomach again. So I'm not, it could be the dust and dander. I'm just not sure what's going on. So I'm going to have trouble sleeping. Kind of scary for me, because it's not a good thing. And I'm pretty resilient. If I get a few hours sleep, I can get through and get by. But I zoned out here a little bit and woke up, but I was, it was only a little bit, but I was kind of sick to my stomach. I'm kind of encouraged every so often, because this is getting a little bit better. I still have a lot of kind of nervy pain on that left side that kicks in. But if I can get my back to calm down, it all kind of just dissipates, right? And I haven't had any massage. I haven't had corticosteroid, right? But for that brief period. Right? And then I went through COVID and all that. I mean, I didn't have to have this kind of pain in life. I was on the course to be well, and the deep state attacked. I mean, horribly. I'm just one man alone, isolated by these people. I'm lucky anybody talked to me, in the places I went to. Some may have actually got paid just to, bullshit me, talk to me, right? But I understand Trump's talking about CIA, how we might have to hand that to someone else other than Elon. My point is this, and again, you're trying to do it quick, I understand it. We could use AI for this, operational AI. And maybe CIA might want to do that. I guess they have something, right? What they think they would need. But again, there's some programs that have to be reset up a certain way. And I guess once you get your budget, it'll be different, right? But we need CIA to do a lot of stuff for us in Central and South America. And I know they're doing some stuff, but we need to do things like shutting people's phones down while they're trying to operate against the federales, right? We need to just end everything they can do from an electronics point of view, and then of course we can use of drones and things like that. Just need to take all capability to operate away from that we can do. And then maybe somebody, take out like you see in Afghanistan, somebody takes out a vehicle. with two bosses in there. Mexico should have declared active war instead of again, police actions tend not to work. I mean, that's what we learned in Vietnam. I'm a little bit off because I still have some pain right now, so that's why I might be like a little, out there a little bit. Right, and of course I didn't sleep the greatest last night. But temperatures drop and this apartment just gets shitty. Right. And then if I make it too hot in certain sections, then the dust mites pick up. It's just horrible. I don't know. Somebody's saying they're sorry. I can't believe anything's real anymore. I mean, with what they did to me. I mean, it could be mental illness, but it's not mental illness. You know what I mean? It really happened. Right? And if there's some residual thing from it, I'll work my way through it like I did before. Right. Thanks, Larry. Well, they've duped me before, so I don't know if anybody knows I really exist. I could live in a bubble, a little bubble online, and nobody really knows I exist, and you just make it look like people know I exist. I mean, they've done it before. Right. Well, when you want somebody to stalk somebody, if you make it look like somebody knows they exist, they may come up on that person, but and get themselves in trouble. Right. Well, I've thought this thing through and what their goals are. I just wish it was like a month later and it was warming up already. Or it was a couple years early and I just got to Kansas and you wouldn't mess with me. Right. Right. I'm sorry, Larry. I'm really sorry. So again, my lumbar got messed up from this. My left, lower lumbar is kind of trashed, but it goes up my back to my neck. So it might be that thing where if I kill that nerve, and so I feel it in my arm. So it's not, something's triggering the lumbar. That's what I believe at this point. I wish I could have got to that decision 4 years ago, and I could have figured things out better because I was younger. I'd been less, they've really tortured me a lot in the last 4 years. And actually were actively torturing me. That's why I ended up moving. Right. Yeah. They get paid money if I move. They really do. So again, you'll get paid your money, get my VA here, and I'll move on. I really don't want to stay here. I've been tortured in here so much. They broke in here and everything, trying to freak me out. Probably drugging me too. Thanks, Larry. But there's only so many ways to get rid of the cartel, and that's the reality. I mean, you never know what anybody's thinking in their minds or how they've been blackmailed or psyops. So you don't know if the president of Mexico knows she has a line that she won't cross because she knows she'd be a marked woman if she did. But I only have so much information from here. And again, actually, I got that information about Trump from my brother. He said this morning that the CIA stuff is going to be looked at by other people. And we're not going to leave that up to Elon. Thank you, Lance. Well, because we've been working on, before Elon came along, we were working on the cartel thing years ago. And that's what I kind of got, I was kind of getting carried away a little bit, I guess, but I'd show, cars blowing up and all these things. That may be the place where we need to be, but right. Now, I worked hard on these cases. I worked on Pam Bondi. Again, I'm a metaphysical person. I give you power to, do those things. But again, it's God, it's not me, but it goes through me. And I've sent plans into people over the years. I was hoping that we could have did this the first administration, right? Again, I was hoping I would live a healthy life. I mean, there's no reason that people are causing disability. There's no reason. They can say they're bullshit all they like, and it's still bullshit. Oh, I don't know if there's a way around this. So I'm investigating a few things. One of the things I found today is that you can circumvent the age thing with a VPN. So any kid with a VPN can circumvent Kansas's, as long as they select a state that doesn't have that requirement for age, whatever. Maybe Trump is going to move something for that. I don't know. So a VPN says that will look like you're in a different state, so they don't get the splash screen from Kansas on porno for under 18. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Lawrence. I'll use VPN sometimes. Sometimes I'm open and I don't use the VPN because I just want them to see it. I was just testing right now, and I kind of got messed up because it dropped my signal and I went off VPN. I wasn't thinking about it, but I was on VPN because I want to see if they can see into my VPN. Again, I'm not trying to commit a crime. I'm trying to stop them from committing crimes or providing a protective method for people. Right. Well, see if they would extort me is one of the things. Or try to. It looks to me like they are. They sent me a credit card and it has all the numbers on it. Has a bunch of different numbers. Right. But it's, it's like manipulation numbers or something. PSYOP numbers. Right. Thanks. I have to be careful that I don't order extra stuff just to get my $200. I can't spend $1,000 extra to get $200 back. I want to get some money in the account, so it's going to take a little while to get the $1,000 spent on this card, and then I'll get 200 or 250, whatever it was. Trying to make up what I lost. Yeah, some of this could be triggered by the weather a little bit, but I don't know. Right. Thank you, Larry. Nah, there's no doubt. Like, I'm metaphysical, so I know what happened in my life. And I just even told that to my brother. My brother said, you let people take advantage of you when you're a kid. I said, no, Steve, I know the metaphysics. They took advantage of me. I was naive. I was asleep. Right. I even know this guy, like this kid, I think I mentioned before, he got me to cut school. I don't even, I look back and I go, oh my God, he used his willpower. Because, okay, he's a guy that had sex with a lot of girls. Like, he'd have a girlfriend go have sex with someone else. So he was willing. He used his will. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong, but I think he used his will to will young ladies to sex. Right. But he also willed me to go with him to his workplace, and I would sit outside while he was working. He had one of those work release things. So he got me to cut school. There's no reason for me to do it. Again, I know metaphysics now. I know how it works. So he was willing me to go with him to his workplace, and I would sit in his car it's like pure torture. You just sit in a car for 3 hours till he's finished, his afternoon shift or whatever. And then we drive off and he drop me off at home. That was weird. Right. But again, I don't know if it was a government guy or who it was. And they said, well, listening to wiretaps, your family runs you into the ground. So when you're a kid, your family ran you into the ground, and then you didn't have the wherewithal to repel those type of things. Again, they spoke down of me, and that downed me. That's what the deep state does when they're around you also. So again, it's Satan. So they said, yeah, we've heard what your mother and your brother speak down of you, and you're just trying to help your mother. and she's just out in wacko land. And your brother's like agreeing with her. God bless you, Larry. Now we can do some great things if we get those projects forward. I mean, look at all these people on narcotics. I mean, Trump talks about how the kids got killed, but I mean, this is happening too. And these people were kids, and some of them are still like in their teens and stuff. Right? It's like they turned the earth into Satan's hell. Right? Thank you, Mary. Even we can cut the narcotics in half and use in half. I think we'd be, again, the idea of the overage, and I bring that up about a lot of things, like the number of immigrants. It's also the narcotics. I mean, we can deal with narcotics addiction and narcotics smuggling, and we can survive with a certain level of it. But when it's out of control like it is, we can't get anywhere. We can't even survive as a nation, and that's really why H-1B probably does so much, because our people are being made narcotics addicts. Right. Thank you, Larry. I mean, they're growing up in another country. If they grew up here, they might become narcotics. Like I said, that one guy, he ended up doing a murder-suicide with his wife because his business failed. So you're seeing like some of the things that are happening to Americans now, they're starting to happen to Indian people. Right. Right. Well, there's something wrong here. There's a lot of that, that cursing and all that stuff, and the deep state and manipulative people that shouldn't exist. They should be in prison. Right. Well, I could actually feel like a knot at the lower end of my lat, and if I can neutralize that, I think. But I don't know what does that. I think the most of that would minimize. I mean, they used to do a wonderful job on my back. I have no idea who allowed them to get involved in my life like that. I don't hurt anybody. I help everyone. And they know all I want to do is be married, but somebody's paying them to stop me from being married. That's how sick it is. Oh, they took a contract. That's why y'all did it. Y'all had a murder contract or whatever contract it was, but it still was a minimum disabling contract. So, like I said, just get my money forward. Just work on my disability and get me whatever the back money is. I mean, it's a sizable chunk, but I deserve it. Right. I mean, they try to say I deserve to be tortured. That's bullshit. I deserve to be paid and had a great life. I just can't even imagine who my coworkers were. I just can't even imagine. Because I didn't know what they were doing. Again, I was naive. They were psyoping me the whole time. Right. Here they killed Doug Bettman's career, and I was the next one. So they get something for it. Right. Question is, they do Luna also, along with somebody in his office or people in his office. I wouldn't even be thinking about it, man. I left the government just to have a normal freaking life, and you all came in there and destroyed everything. I mean, they get paid, man. Bottom line. They don't care, right? Kill another person. Ha ha ha. But if you get me someplace comfortable, I'll be able to do a better job, and I'll probably work 24/7 for you like I are now. Maybe a little bit different, but right. I mean, obviously, Elon can see that he can trim a lot, but then again, we don't know. We don't know what everything is. Well, it's just the idea of recusal is really moved to the background, and they don't require it as much. Again, I remember in the government, a lot of stuff would have been forced recusal, right? And they're not doing that. Thank you. But still, I mean, he has personal vendettas against these people. I mean, again, I remember, in government, we may not have been perfect, but I mean, you don't cross certain lines. I mean, even the corrupt people didn't even cross certain lines. Right. Well, you can't. You're not supposed to be able to trim an agency that's investigating you. You have to bring somebody else in. Right. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right, that there's some issues there. And some of them being we can't afford it. Right. Be careful about that argument, though. Right. Well, because the judge can independently find that you can afford it. You just can't afford some of the other things you're doing, like rocket entertainment. No, I do have an axe to grind. That's the way I was treated. I mean, for a fact, they put some of my stuff in X. Some of my ideas. Now, I understand a couple of us could have the same ideas, but obviously they put some of my stuff in there. Right. Eating some fruit here. I'm not seeing act again. I might not be able to see. That's why I said, get me forward where I can see again. Right. But when I think I'm not seeing the active aggression that we were seeing for a little while. But again, I might not be seeing it. You understand? Right. I still believe something's underground. I don't know what it is. Like we're not seeing something. I just hate to think I got to spend another month in here. I'm just not up to going outside as much in the cold right now. And it's after I got massaged. So again, I'm not as. I guess I was cramped up and I was warm from being cramped up. Right. Now I'm cold. To go back down to Texas. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, also there were some Spanish women working at the hotel, and I know how the deep state thinks, right? I'm sure they were thinking of me, and I was thinking of them, It wasn't a big hotel. It was nice, and the Indian man that owned it seemed nice enough, right? The Indian people were talking about me, the Patels, the Patels are talking about me in Texas because I was showing up, So who is this guy and all that. But I think they finally figured I was okay. Now, I was somewhat healable. I just couldn't get anywhere with what they did to me. And then, I don't know, at a certain point, I just couldn't get past the blocks to actually go get massage. Right. It's just, and again, what's happening now, I can sense what they're doing. So while I'm Googling it, they're putting shit in my head and confusing me, but I couldn't see it. So again, I have a lot of science, metaphysical science of what's actually happening. And again, when I return to heaven, that'll all be explained to the creation, you know. And, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm the one that breaks the knowledge in heaven for everyone else so they can reassess what happened to them in life. Right, while they were here. Well, I am God's like biggest angel, just about, if not the biggest. It doesn't mean anything actually, but there is no big or small in heaven. In real heaven, you have there are heavens that are kind of like in the spiritual sky. And of course, we call that the heavens, right? Right. Well, metaphysically, in the spiritual realms, there are things going on all the planets in our solar system, metaphysically. There's living beings on every planet. That's why, like mythology, like when I woke up, Hashem's like, well, mythology's kind of real. There's stuff going on everywhere. It's just, you know, you don't have to worship whatever the mythology says. It has information in it, though. Right. Like Mars is there are people on Mars right now, or spirits, right, that live there. And it looks different than we see it. Before they killed me out like this, I was studying as to whether if this is actually antimatter. Like we're actually in antimatter. And the spiritual world is actually matter. Believe me, life is stranger than fiction because it's science fiction. So the things that we see growing up in the 60s and 70s and 80s, right, have valid weight. God put that in science fiction, those terms and things, for later spiritual study. I mean, I didn't read a ton of science fiction, but I read some science fiction when I was a kid, and if I was awake, I'd have known a lot more than I do right now, than I did. Something saying they made up the fake cases. Part of it was so for the ruse to say that I couldn't be paid because I was dangerous. Right. They're the dangerous ones, and that's reality. But you need to pay me. At this point, I'm obviously not dangerous. Thank you, Larry. I got to investigate things when I have to investigate things. It's just the way that whole thing works. Or then, it won't power up, or whatever reason Hashem tells me to do what He tells me to do. Right. Another thing that's happened is they're able to disappear my Gatorade mix. And I didn't order any the other day. That's kind of right. Again, they just curse against everything healthy. need to pay me all of them. I've done enough work to really be paid $1 million. To tell you the truth, there's been enough damage to my life to pay me $1 million for that also. I mean, very easily, right? To put it behind you. Right. I agree there. So I was just talking to my brother, like the guy running the FBI, whatever it is, Driscoll, I guess his name is. Dregs, I don't remember. But he's trying to be diplomatic and to help you a little, because he didn't know what to say. He didn't want to be the next target, right? But he doesn't want you to, he wants you to understand, like, it's very important. He said, well, there's usually a process that we use, and there's, so again, he was trying to give you a hint that if you're going to get rid of somebody, you have to do some sort of research and a little like a hearing or something like that. Because the way you're doing it screws it up. I can't even understand why it was done the way it was done. And maybe Pam Bondi doesn't either. Because usually dismissals are handled a certain way. Again, at least some sort of process. Right. Well, you're the attorney that sat on the other side of the table generally. So again, I just boggles the mind. Right. Again, maybe it's the New World Order or some shit. Or New World Disorder. Right, Larry. Well, he don't want to get fired too. He don't want to overstep his bound and get you angry. But he was trying to tell you that, usually there's some sort of process. And you actually fired somebody who went through the process and actually fired somebody. Right. I mean, the court's going to find that these cases were legitimate. Right. Well, the FBI fired that guy because he got himself into a pickle at 9/11. Right. Or not 9/11, at J6. Well, I'm just trying to tell you, the court's not going to take your standpoint. They're just not going to do it. Right. And maybe it's the court saying that through me. That happens at times. Well, again, the idea of it being a political prosecution isn't, I don't even think they can decide that. Right. It's not like there's no lawful process that's, I mean, everything in government is political sometimes. Right. So again, what they're going to tell you is it's reasonable to have happened what happened. Right. For the agents to have done what they did, for the case to go the direction it went. Right. Of course, there's federal judges that actually judge some of those cases. So I just don't understand. I understand you've been operating. I understand you've been psychologically tortured, whether you agree to it or not. And again, you're living better lives than I am, right? And they got me worse than you because nobody protected me and kept them away from me, and I ended up hurting myself. Actually, I didn't hurt myself. They did it, right? I mean, I could actually if I got to the right massage therapy people and the right doctors, I probably could have healed a lot more back then. And who knows what kind of damage has happened since then. Right. Thank you, Larry. It's just, I'm trying to get you from going to, because again, they're going to put it in the news. You don't need that shit in the news. Because they're going to say, a judge could actually find that these are legitimate cases. I don't know how they wouldn't find that. Now, you say it's political, but I don't think that's a matter that the court judges. Right. So if you end up getting taken into court for that stuff, the court may essentially, and again, maybe you'll badmouth the court afterwards or something. I don't know, to get out of it, but the court's going to essentially find some things that are not conducive. All right. I told you, just get it behind you. Don't let it. Don't obsess over it. We got all these missions. We got, because if you do your missions, nobody's going to even give a shit that anybody did any of that. Right. In fact, this is the part. I bet you, what's her name would have pardoned you, or pardoned Trump. I bet you Harris would have pardoned Trump. As bad as you are, breaking bad on her and you know, talking shit. I bet you she would have pardoned you, right? Just to put it all behind us. 100%. But she wasn't going to buck the big man that was in the office that, you know, that she was a vice president for, as far as, you know, at that moment. Right. I'm almost sure I can't see as well because I'm here. And if I wasn't here, I could see better. So I'm missing my cues to move along at a certain point. Right. And maybe not enter into a lease. Right. Again, based upon what they were doing to me at the sentence day, I needed to get here. Right. Thank you, Larry. Does not bad credit card, 2% across the board. And I think you might be able to like use your rewards whenever you want, like they're instant rewards, but I'm not sure. 2% across the board, and when I spend $1,000, I get $200. So, right. And if I get money, I can actually somebody can help me move out of here, help me finish. I'll have to clean some of this myself, but I can get people in here to help me. Right. Thank you, Larry. Again, I'm going to give a lot of it away if I get money. I can't obsess over it. Right. Thank you, Larry. Give it to like veterans, churches, anybody that's needy. Right. I gave all my microphones and a couple guitars to the church before in Amarillo. Never did get to it. I wish I was well and I could go to Amarillo and maybe attend that church. I mean, it's so uncomfortable. It's just that you just don't feel like going to a church, right? No, my afterlife stuff's pretty accurate. Right. When Hashem woke me up, he says, I really don't use as many people as they think I do. I just have some, you know, people that are pretty close to me. Right. Like, I didn't know I was a biblical character. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. So again, just maybe send an email letting me know that you've done it, and I'm going to, you know, have my retirement adjusted, right, or my disability adjusted from the VA. Right. Thank you, Larry. The way I read the law, I'm supposed to get it. This doctor was way off. Right. Could have been in on it too. Because it's a presumption that you have it. The doctor can't say you don't. That's why they did the law. Right. I mean, it's insane. It's like the rest of the freaking army and government, right? No, it's presumed. Like if you walk in there and say I have it, they have to presume you have it, and then you get your disability. Right. That's what it was made for. Correct. It might be coming up, you know, but again, it was in effect when I went last time, and they need to give it to me. Right. They actually renewed it like a year later. 100%. But I'm thinking it might be phasing out soon. I don't know. Right. But it was in effect when I went there last time. That's real. That's what the law was created for. That if somebody comes in and says, I have, because look, the CIA did a study, they're not telling you everything, okay? Right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Remember, a bunch of people up and died. Correct. And the funny part is somebody had a program to get people through it. So they would go down to Louisiana, he'd give them antibiotics, vitamins, and exercise. And when I left the government, what do you think I did? I worked in that prison and all that stuff, getting all them flus, antibiotics. I was working out, vitamins, and exercise. And then years later, I found that that was actually how they cured some of the people. But again, who knows what happens over time. And again, like I tell you, I have to exercise. Y'all made it so I couldn't get to my exercises and stuff. Right. Thank you, Larry. But again, a lot of I'm not the only one, but I think I'm the hardest working one of the bunch. Right. Well, because it's a presumption. It means what it means. The person comes in, you say you got it, you give them the disability. That was the intention because they knew something happened. They're not telling you everything. I'm telling you that. Like they didn't tell you about the chemical weapons or biological weapons that our Charlie company blew up. 100%. And that went up into the air. Thank you, Lynch. I would say that's southern Iraq. Or yeah. Oh wait. It's Iraq above Kuwait, right? But it's like east to west. I don't know how far east or west they were. We were blowing up the stuff in the vicinity of that peace talk tent before we moved up to the peace talk tent. So we were in that area. I don't know where Charlie Company was. They were, I think, west of us. So that the law was made so that nobody would inquire about anything. That's why they did that. 100%. They just wanted to end it. So, okay, you come in, you say you're sick, you're going to get your disability. Right. Because they wanted to close the case. They didn't want people to look into it. Right. If you wanted to do me dirty, I probably never said anything. Right. Again, when I started this, I was just writing to senators and congressmen and, some of the government pages, their submission pages. Right. You're the ones that double-cross me. God bless you, sir. No, I think there's something they didn't want anybody to look at. And it could be that. It could be that there were chemical, biological munitions that were blown up while we were destroying munitions. That was what the thing was. Like it destroys. We were on this mad race to destroy munitions and tanks and everything because they knew we were going to pull back. So we were in southern Iraq. Well, actually, not southern because we went into Iraq down there. But the southern Iraq, as far as actually, it was northern Iraq, I think, right? It's near Basra, I guess, south of Basra, right? We come up out of Kuwait. We came out. We hit the highway of death. We went north. If I remember correctly. Right. Actually, we were in the oil fields first, and then we went to this location. And I remember busting through the bunkers looking for stuff. Right. And I remember we were told, make sure you don't blow up things with skull and crossbones. And I'm like, why would I do that? Because Charlie Company did it. The hope was that it was totally obliterated, but you never know, right? Oh my God. Well, we don't even know what it is. I don't know if they have a photo of it or not. I don't know how they knew, like how the report ended up, right? Now they've taken my information, they've put it places, so I don't know what's going on for sure. Right, that's part of the torture, you know. But I think they wanted me to stalk people because they would give people my information, and maybe it would be someone else that gave it to them, and I think they know that I'm helping them, and they may not. So whatever the situation is, get my 100% disability from the VA, backdated to the last time I requested, which is 2017 or 18, and increase my disability. So every month I'll get the 100% check. Right. Again, they didn't let me go back to work or anything. My plan was to go back to work. I actually wanted to give back I was going to give back my retirement if I could. Right. I didn't want anything to do with them. They're devils. Correct. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. None of these people are supposed to be in my life. It's a big fabrication. Disgusting. I was feeling great last night, and now I'm all screwed up again. Like at the evening when I was done, the day, kind of this time last night. Yeah. Well, if you make it a national law for identity for pornography, then they can't. Well, I guess they could do it outside the U.S. VPN. I don't know how that would work. Right? I didn't try. Maybe I'll try that later. Thank you, Larry. Well, it may reject it because it's like a U.S. website. Right? But I guess they could go overseas and do it too. Right? Which is probably worse if a kid gets overseas looking at some of the stuff I got over there. It may not be policed. I don't know. That's where Epstein went, overseas. Right. Thank you, Larry. So they made it a national law. They couldn't at least say they were in a different state. Right. Thank you, Larry. I usually don't use the VPN that much, but I was investigating whether they would extort me if I moved through a VPN. Or even attempt to manipulate me through the algorithm. Right. It looked like there may have been manipulation, but, without this pain, I'm not too much into looking much more in it. Right. Thanks, Larry. Well, if we do a national, they can't say they're in another state on the VPN, but they can always say they're like in Germany. But I'm going to look at that later. I'm actually going to look at that later, that part. Well, because it may reject them. Right. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't get to a German site, which may not be covered anyway, right? Right. Again, that's why you need a clean feed thing. You could put a gateway leaving the United States. I think you could. That you would have to do an age verification, possibly. Yeah, you could do that because it would be a clean. If you did a clean feed system, yeah, parents are supposed to be doing that anyway. But right. But if you did a clean feed system, you could require them to log in if they're looking up porn outside the United States, or prove their age or whatever it is they do. Right. Thank you, Lord. Well, sometimes when you look at a U.S. site, like I don't even trust other nations, so I usually don't use a VPN outside the United States. But sometimes, like, it'll accidentally. Actually, it was so bad, I was using like a double VPN. So one of the VPNs was out of the United States. Essentially, it goes through one and then to the other. Right. They were hacking me pretty bad. So I did that. That's generally what I use it for, because sometimes I can't like move online without the VPN because they're doing like denial of service, individual denial of service type stuff, right? And then like if you go to an American site, it won't, it won't operate right because you're outside their lawful service area or something like that, right? So the like Pornhub or something may not work if I go in through Germany or through UK, right? Now it doesn't mean that I can't use their, actually that might come up as their site, right? I'll have to look. Nah, it's pretty miserable out there. I wish it was warmer. Right. And again, if I have leftover inflammation, the cold could trigger that. So if I get the corticosteroid and the massage, it might minimize, but I'm just kind of stuck here with the COVID and everything. Really, just kind of derailed everything. Right, Larry. There's just no reason for them to have done this to me. I was so sick, and they knew I was sick, and the massage saved me, and I was so thankful. And I would tell people, be careful in the gym, be careful what you do with your back, and da 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 da. And they just hit me, man, and just kept hitting me every time I got back to massage. They would hit me again. And again, it becomes a subconscious thing, right? And again, it's Spycraft. I mean, they're professionals, pieces of shit that they are. I can't believe I don't have that. I didn't want to go out, and I can't find my Gatorade mix. Should have ordered. I ordered some stuff in yesterday, or the other day. I should have ordered Gatorade. I was able to get the pain to dissipate yesterday. I mean, it's not everywhere now, it's just one spot, but it's just I was able to get it to dissipate yesterday, and I can't right now. But like I'm saying, my feet and my legs are moving more bilateral. So the last part is to get rid of this part, right? I mean, all them years I didn't have that. I may be confused, but I don't think so. I think I was off kilter the whole time. I mean, it's not perfectly bilateral, but like even sitting on the toilet seat's more normal. Right. And I know my right side could be actually cramped up and making it abnormal instead of the left side being too weak. Right. Because when I went to Amarillo, it was all puffed out. It was horrible. I had to stop every half hour and just walk a little bit and walk it off. And I'm all alone. I don't have a girlfriend or nothing. Yeah, I think that Spanish woman was interested in. I gave her like a bunch of bins when I left, but again, they interfered, and they may have known. I mean, they could be on wiretap. Who knows? They wiretap everybody in the place off of some bullshit case so they can find out if any woman's interested in me. That may have what triggered it. The Spanish women may have been talking about me, on a wiretap or even on an eavesdropping if they had cameras that they put in. Right. See, they're wackos, man. They need to be ended. End date has arrived. Thank you, sir. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of that arnica gel on my upper back. It might take care of this. Because I'm experimenting with different things. I put arnica gel on my lower back to see if it would take it out. Didn't seem to do anything. Because as soon as I got massage and we started releasing the stuff, I started figuring out that I think the lower problem is actually coming from the upper back. That just pulls everything real tight. Right. Well, basically, if the lower back is controlling the upper back and causing it to tighten, putting arnica gel on the upper back shouldn't affect that. Right. So it means that the upper back is irritated somehow and tightening, independent of the lower back, theoretically. There's the type of people they attack all day and get paid millions of dollars to take out. Just pieces of shit. Thank you, Larry. Again, get me that money. I mean, it's a sizable chunk, but it's not huge, you know? It's enough for me to at least clean up my life for now. And then maybe you can find enough information about what was done to me to pay me more money. Right. And take care of the rest of my life. Well, my life has been a life of service, I'll tell you that. Right. Now, if you get me somewhere, I've been waiting for something. I mean, anything, anybody, right? Any party, anybody. I mean, Hashem, made that known to me that that's all it would take. Right? And get me somewhere I can do the work better. Correct. Thank you, Larry. And I need to mine the stuff in Mexico. The border looks like we have people. And again, every once in a while, I'll probably have to heal stuff. But and again, if I say to do something, you do it. I think God might bless you too. I'm not sure. And again, if you don't do it, it means you don't have a need to do it or something like that. That's fine. But always, put it in the back, swirl away in the back of your mind. Like I say, Christian plans for the use of armor and things like that. Okay, and there has to be armor available just for transport. Well, because we don't know this would be. Right? But the border patrol performs a special function, and if they need to be protected by armor, then we need to have armor available to transport. Right? So we would need drivers and like NRAPs or something like that. Right? Like the army guys can't do it without the border patrol. Really, I mean, we could do something, but not the real missions that we usually do. Again, if we got to that level, I don't know if the court would enforce the normal system. Right? So you just like get out of here. Yeah, that way, get away. Can't come this way. I needed a woman, and then I can go back. I would feel better going back to the church. Right? They do it probably. They probably did so many people. Thank you, sir. Nah, I just wanted to be in a church. I wanted to be with Christians, because I wasn't back to the Judaism yet. But I mean, I did have Judaism basis for Christianity. I had like the stuff that Hashem had taught me when I left the government, and how it connected to Christianity. Well, that's where one of the big problems with Christianity is that they don't understand their Judaism, and the Judaism they do understand is not enough, and maybe actually understood wrong. Well, the problem is we judge people a certain way to not be the little one or the stranger or the orphan that we accept. So again, the scripture has all sorts of reasons to help people, but we try to rule people out. Well, I have to save people on that. Again, that's what they did to me. They tried to soil me and rule me out, right? I had no life, man. I helped people that I could get that, the initial parts of helping people going, and then they try to get in the middle, and did I see them where they weren't? Of course, it's built into the project. As part of the fact they look. Now, the question is this thing on my ankle, like it's starting to get tight around my ankle, is that triggering the back or is the back triggering the ankle? Because believe it or not, foot spurs and things like that can cause the back to cramp up. In fact, the guy in Tyler said, I can see it plain as day. That's probably what's causing most of your problem. So, I need to get the massage, but I have to figure out again, there's like a block from getting to it. I'm not sure what it is. I'm hoping they didn't make a deal with the devil to try to psyop me. I'm already missing some of what you're asking. I can't figure it out. I can't hear it. So I'm not ignoring you, whatever's trying to ask me questions about doing something. I just don't get what the mission is. I can't hear it. Or I can't think it. I don't even have to hear it. But again, the CIA is going to have to figure out how to wire a CIA funhouse in Central America, especially Mexico. I call it the CIA funhouse. They do it to me all the time. Thank you, Larry. Well, we got to be able to help the federales and whoever else. We have to make them as the cartels as ineffective as we can. Well, I believe that they're unlawful enemies. I mean, they killed more than the terrorists. That's chemical warfare. So I think you can get that passed. Again, if they wouldn't send us up here, these people wouldn't be dying. Right. Now there would be some narcotics distribution. Again, when they make these arguments, there's way out of it. You just don't go like libtard. You have to actually articulate. The idea is this: that yes, we can handle the narcotics that are going to be produced up here, or maybe from other countries to a smaller scale, and the number of obviously the number of new addicts will diminish. Again, the same thing that's kind of going on the border right now with the foot traffic. Right. So yeah, there's going to be narcotics use, but I don't believe it's going to be at the level. And again, we'll come to that bridge when we get there, or maybe even before we get there, because we always have to be cognizant of the next thing. And that's what I said, probably on maybe even Pam Bondi's site. I don't remember where it was. Maybe Fidley's site. I don't remember. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not speaking into my thing. I don't know if you heard me. I thought I had my microphone on. Darn. I guess you heard some of it. Now I put some stuff on my back and I forgot I didn't have my microphone on. So somebody's trying to ask questions about a certain mission and I can't hear it, or I can't even think it. Again, usually I think it, but I actually felt that somebody was saying, "What do you think? What should we do?" And I there's nothing there but that question. All right. So I'm not receiving some. That'll tell me I'm not receiving all the information. Thank you, Larry. Also, I think I said something about my retirement. Again, it's a presumption. It's not a rebuttable presumption. So if you walk into VA and you say you have Persian Gulf syndrome, they have to say yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Larry. And something happened that they're not honoring that. Actually, it should go back to 2013, but that's not even in the file. I mean, that I actually requested that. It's like insane. Right. Right. Because the county guy did it. I sat right in front of him, and he did it. I was in pain. I had trouble walking. Right. I said, this is it. I have to claim it. Over the years, my wife thought I had it like mildly and stuff, and I'm like, well, it's just a rash. It's just that, I just kind of just didn't want to really go through that process. I had a good job with the Marshal Service. I wasn't worried, about income, so I didn't, really push the buttons. And I still was healthy enough. I just had some of the signs that it was there. I still can't. Grow hair without, beyond a certain level without rash. Thank you, Larry. So I do rash up like some of those people. Again, it's bullshit. I got it. You're supposed to give it to me. Again, I know I have other injuries, but again, why is that happening? Right. Thank you. No, I've been drugged on top of it, but there's something there. There's something Persian Gulf there. Right. So again, they broke the whole program. The whole program was designed for that. That the person walks in, because nobody wants, like, if you didn't do that, again, it's died down over the years. But if you didn't do that, they'd start investigating again, and they didn't want that to happen. So they said, "Okay, you got it." Right. Thank you, Larry. Now, CIA knows more than we know. And again, don't believe that CIA records stay for decades the way they were written in the beginning. Again, that's why they don't release them right away. They alter them. Right. Anything that would have been in that JFK file has been long gone, even before Trump saw it. Right. That's the way it is, man. It's just like having a hearing and telling people to stop MK Ultra and Project Artichoke. They just went underground. That's all. Right? They never stopped it. Correct. Larry. I said something on the board. I'm trying to think of what I might have said and you didn't hear. Well, stay peaceful.